Hello everyone, my name is John Bussart. I'm an HPE Solution Center engineer for Ingram Micro. I help support servers, blade systems, storage, as well as networking technology solutions out of our Business Transformation Center. What I like to do is show you a slide from a popular PowerPoint and then demonstrate to you what that means within a management interface. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do an unboxing of a SimpliVity 380 Gen 10 Hyper-Converged platform from HPE. The SimpliVity 380 Gen 10 system, or appliance, is built upon an HPE ProLiant DL380 Gen 10 server with the addition of something that's called an Omni Stack accelerator card. This Omni Stack accelerator card goes inside the PCI Express slot and allows us to have hardware-accelerated software-defined storage within our Hyper-Converged platform. So it allows us to give us the capabilities that you see listed across this slide, so things like inline deduplication, linear scalability and predictable performance, integrated backup, and the list goes on. So, with all that being said, let's explore what's inside this box. Alright, so let's unbox our SimpliVity 380 Gen 10 system. I've already sliced it open, but obviously I've put everything back, so this should be the experience that you see as you open up one of these boxes. Here are the rack mount rails. So this system is based off a DL380 Gen 10 server, so I expect to see a lot of similarities between these systems, and these rails look exactly like what I'd get inside a DL380 Gen 10 server. Now, something that I see people lose quite often, and that's the licensing documentation. A lot of times this gets lost in the packaging of the system and people throw out the boxes. When you see this, make sure you hang on to these documentations. This is for my Omni Stack license, and this is actually for the ILO Advanced for this system. Alright, so hang on to those. There's a couple power cords, C13 to C14 cables. We have some foam back here, and a little bit more over here. Now this is the front of the system here, so there's a little bit of protection covering up the drives in the front, and there's another piece of cardboard over here protecting the back of the system. So let me get this guy out and then we'll take a look at the inside of the system. Alright, here's the front of our SimpliVity 380 based box. Again, this is going to look a lot like a DL380 Gen 10 system. It does say SimpliVity 380 over here. All right. The configuration that I have is an extra small storage configuration. So I have 5 drives here, and they're 5 SSD drives. These SSD drives are 960 gig drives. Beyond that, it looks like a DL380 Gen 10 system. I mean, we have the power button over here. We have the UID light over here. We have a USB 3 port over here, and then the front access ILO where we could offload logs if we felt like it. Alright, so with that being said, let's spin this around and look at the back. Alright, here's the back of our SimpliVity 380 based system. So certainly this looks like a Gen 10 server, so we're going to see many similarities, including things like the VGA port, the 4 onboard 1 gig ports. This is the out-of-band management ILO port, a couple USB 3 ports, and then the FlexLOM slot here, in which I have a 10 gig adapter installed. Right? And then over here, redundant power supplies. So in the SimpliVity system, it looks like they've installed a couple 800 watt power supplies. Something that's interesting is we have a couple drives over here. Right, so certainly you could have rear drives configured within a DL380 Gen 10 system. In the SimpliVity box, they use these as boot drives for the hypervisor. Alright, so let me remove one of these drives. These drives are set up in a mirror, and they're 300 gig, 10K RPM drives. These drives actually go to their own separate RAID controller in a box. So we'll explore that a little bit more when we look at the inside. And finally, over here we're getting a peek at the Omni stack card that's up there. But again, when we get in the inside, we'll explore that a little bit more. All right, so let's go look at the inside. All right, so let's take a look at the inside of our SimpliVity 380 Gen 10 based system. And like I had mentioned, this is based off a DL380 Gen 10 system. So a lot of things are going to be similar. For example, on the back cover, there's some interesting configuration information that makes it handy to work on these systems. Obviously, anything with the purple on it, port wine, a top pluggable, for example, these power supplies. I think it's interesting to note that these fans are high performance fans. So we'll take a quick look at those. And anything in the system that has this blue color on it, that would be cold swappable. So for example, I could take out this entire fan tray. Alright, set that over here. As well as the bezel can be removed as well. My system's a pretty minimally configured system, so I have one processor installed. Right. One thing that I noticed right off the bat, as I showed you on the back of the system, the boot drives are over here. So they boot the hypervisor, ESX hypervisor, off two drives mounted into the back. Right, and that's cabled here, all the way over to here, and we'll look at that in a second. Obviously, this is an option that you could put inside DL380 Gen 10 system. So the reason why I bring that up is this connector here, if you read it on the side, it actually says NVMe. So there's obviously some configuration options for that as well. All right, so again, this cable goes around, and it comes to here into a RAID controller. So there's some interesting things going on over here. So let's take a quick look. All right. See, there's where the cable plugs in. So let me unhook that guy. I'll place that over there. Now there's a couple interesting cards in this. There's the RAID controller that we're looking at, and then there's the Omni stack card right here. So that's pretty interesting. So let's open this guy up, and let's take a look at the RAID controller that we have configured here. So this RAID controller is an E208I-P. So it's a pretty basic RAID controller, but just remember that the only thing we're doing with this is booting our hypervisor, or those two hard drives that are in the back. This RAID controller doesn't have any cache, but it is a hardware-based RAID controller. Alright. The next piece that's in here is the Omni stack card. So let me get this guy on out. So this is a pretty interesting card. It's a double wide card. Right. There's a lot of capacitors on it, as you see as I flip it around. Right. Again, it's double wide. Oops. Alright, we'll set this guy aside over here for now. So some other things that are interesting. Here is another RAID controller in this environment. This is a P408i. So again, this is a P408i-A SR RAID controller. This is a full-featured RAID controller. It has 2 gigs of cache on it. Now those 2 cables run through this channel over here and then connect up to this port as well as this port here. Now, if you remember, I only have drives in this bay over here. I didn't have any drives in this bay, but it looks like they're cabled. If I follow this cable around, you'll see it's connected to the very basic S100i RAID controller. This RAID controller doesn't support ESX, so the only reason I can imagine that they've got these plugged in is because they're parking those cables in case I had some extra drives in there at a future date. All right. Over here is a network adapter that's been added, and this is going to be a 534 FLR-SFP Plus. Look at that guy. So let's put this guy back together. And we'll get the cover back on top. Alright, so I hope you found this video informative, and please stay tuned for more videos.